Hi everyone, welcome to Music Business Today, where we bring you the latest news in the music world.
We absolutely do, Hannah. And today we're talking about Phish and a little scare with the weather, which there's been a few of lately. We're also going to talk about Dierks Bentley and the Rolling Stones cover, which is a really interesting story, and some shake-ups in the music industry, which is nothing new, but we'll go back. We'll see you soon.
Bandwidth for today's show is brought to you by softlayer.com. We love Softlayer here at Talkapolis. They are the greatest hosting company ever. They make everything easy. Check out their website at softlayer.com. Thanks again for sponsoring the show.
Welcome back to Music Business Today. I am Hannah Renee.
And I'm Kane Harrison, and we are going to kick off with a bit of a scare for Phish, who the band were playing in Chicago recently, and they had to postpone their concert for some time, which a lot of bands have had to do lately due to weather scares.
Well, they evacuated.
Oh, right. They
didn't just postpone it. It was Pearl Jam that had a 3-hour delay.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But they actually evacuated the Phish show.
I mean, this has happened a lot, and I think that now, because we've talked about it a little bit too, because I think way back, like last year sometime, where there was a country music festival in Canada where some people died, unfortunately, because of stage collapses and things like that. More recently, a couple of months ago, there was the same thing where the stage collapsed a little bit, and so...
Yeah. Well, so I think people are starting to try to be a lot more cautious about when there's inclement weather, headed that direction, just taking those safety precautions and being proactive.
Absolutely, and I think this time of year with that strip up the centre of the country where it just seems to roll on through.
It's just been insane weather.
It is, but needless to say, especially the Pearl Jam one, they loved the wait, and they waited for 3 hours, I think, and then Pearl Jam come on stage and probably absolutely nailed it, as we all know they do.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, also, Dierks Bentley, I'm sure everyone has heard about the Rolling Stone cover that features the alleged terrorist from the Boston bombings on the cover. And Dierks Bentley has actually, stepped in and kind of voiced his opinion. He posted a picture of him, carrying the magazine tucked into his arm so you can't see the picture on it on his Twitter account. And basically he was saying, you can exercise your First Amendment. That's totally fine, free speech, but I'm going to exercise my right to not spend $7 on your magazine.
100%.
But then that raises the question of, okay, so how did you get said magazine that's in your head? I just thought that was kind of funny.
It is. I think that the other really valid statement that he makes, I think, which made him more than the $7 and stuff like that, was that, so many people, the Rolling Stone cover, to get that is,
they strive for that. That's
absolutely.
A benchmark in your career.
Usually better than any award that you can get or anything like that, because Rolling Stone, the cover of that is held in such high pristine. And then for them to just, it seems that they've tainted it a little bit, in his opinion, by celebrating violence, which seems to be a hot topic in pop culture at the moment, in that, I mean, even back in the day with movies like Natural Born Killers, one of my favourite, but that's what that movie, with the whole thing was about, is just this celebration of violence.
I mean, I guess that's true. I've kind of been really into a particular show lately that I guess in a sense kind of glorifies it.
It definitely glorifies it. I think that, and it's the same, you get a choice to go and buy this magazine, and that's what Dierks Bentley was saying, that, he was probably posting on Twitter to say, let's not perhaps buy this particular copy, but it does take the shine off what that magazine stands for, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I do kind of like the fact that he did acknowledge, hey, totally cool, you want to do that, that is your First Amendment, by all means do it, but I'm going to exercise, my own.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read the story, so I just know, that his face is on the cover, I guess, but the story could be completely different, so I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I haven't actually read the issue, I've just been hearing quite a bit
every time we think
about it lately.
Magazine cover, we think of celebrity, and I think when we put someone like that on there, they automatically go into this realm of celebrity that perhaps shouldn't be in for the right reasons. So, music manager Ed Nash, who is a local guy here in Nashville, he has came out and just said, look, that obviously everyone knows that the music industry is changing, but we need to get off our bums and get amongst it, and really, because we've known about it for such a long time. iTunes and all these different things have been out for so long that instead of whinging and bitching about it, essentially, it's like, well, let's get ahead of this game. And then the problem is that the music industry should have come up with things like Spotify and the likes.
Yeah, it wasn't even the music industry that did that. And he's like, guys, we could have done this. Why didn't we do this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that what you'll find is moving forward, obviously, it's always been that social media has been such a valued part, but I think that more and more tech people will start working in these industries where, you know, it's not unlike film with distribution and things like that. I mean, because people, you look at Netflix that has just picked up, you know, awards for the first time.
They've got some great series on there.
Yeah, which a lot of people wouldn't be aware of, but we just consume and watch, you know, our media in such a different way. So Ed is completely right. I think that it's about time someone was a little more outspoken, especially in Nashville, locally.
Yeah, it's like, don't sit and just keep complaining about, you know, sales and records. Like, CDs are never going to sell the way they did.
No. And it's everyone's job. It's not, I mean, at the end guy in the artist, I mean, they need to be more and more aware and more savvy too. I mean, you can go and sign deals and all that sort of stuff, but you need to know how to market yourself and how to do
in today's music industry,
things.
it calls you to be more connected with your fan base.
100%.
It's no longer just about like, well, I have a fan club and I go on stage and sing for them. You know, it's like offer them things like intimate concerts if they buy this level package, you know, kind of thing. Like, you know, he has some great ideas as to what people can be doing to really help with, you know, their music.
I think the really interesting thing about the shift is that you're so right in a lot of the things that you're talking about through Kickstarters and the other programs where you can get online and invite people from all over the world to watch you, which you could never ever do before. So I think the indie level ability to make a profit out of what they're doing is rising, but I think from the top layer, because of that also, they're sort of trying to work out different ways to do it. And the main focus seems to be on that top tier of people who are making enough money anyway, let's be honest. So I think it's opening a lot of different doors.
I don't think they're hurting for anything.
Yeah, but it's always the way now. It will be perhaps not the most talented people, but the smartest people. The cream rises to the top.
The people that know how to market themselves, the people that are aware of music as a business as well as...
And I can tell you the people who are aware of music as a business is recently in Japan, Softbank had a bid for Universal Music. And I can tell you a little bit about this because I'm sort of involved with some of that stuff at the moment through China. And what people are trying to do or come to the realization is that you can buy blanket licensing of music. And so a lot of the consumers out there, and you guys at home might know this, but just because I write a song, say for instance, if I sit under the umbrella of a Universal Music, then Universal Music owns certain copyrights and masters and things that go with that, that can then let anyone in the world sing or use that stuff. So there's a couple of branches in Japan that are looking at buying out these major companies so they then get all those copyrights. If they have those copyrights, they can then go and use that content specific to things like mobile phones and all that other things that at the moment we can't cash in on, especially they're not cashing in on over there with the Asian market. So it's a really, really interesting time, but I can tell you how much this is worth. They bidded to Universal $8.5 billion, and it was knocked back.
Not a bit of pocket change, to say the least. It's not,
but I can tell you that this will definitely not be the end of this, because the way they're looking for the end consumer to purchase music is really for you to get it for free. What you're doing is you'll go to a mobile phone company, say here I'm with Verizon, so I will pay a premium at Verizon, but I'll have access to all this other stuff. So it makes Verizon set apart from an AT&T who may not have blanket licensing, say to Justin Bieber or to Rihanna, but but a Verizon may have. So I'll be more likely to go and purchase that phone, and it will just be built into the cost. So you can see this. You will hear a lot more about this game that will be played, and it will extensively come from the Asian market.
There's so much going on with all of that.
I mean, it's from a worldwide perspective. I think there's 23 million people in Australia, which is some small change. There's 330 million people in America, and it seems that at the moment so much talk is about the self-consumption of America. But there's 1.3 billion people in China. So you talk about wanting to get, even 5 cents a download or something like that off 1.3 billion people.
That's insane.
So you can see why these Asian markets are trying to cash in. The big difference is the Western world owns all the music, the Western world has all the stars. These guys have all the population and the technology, so it's got to meet somewhere. And
the marketing knowledge.
They
definitely have a business kind of mindset.
They've already got an established clientele. That's the big thing. So you may have, 20 million people that are serviced by Verizon, but over there you may have, 1 billion people or something like that. So
by a sister company.
It's a really interesting way that we're moving forward. But
well, last but not least, there's been some issues with some shows on Broadway right now. Well, one show that was previously on Broadway and another show that is about to open on Broadway. Both of them are Beatles tribute shows. The first one was Rain. This next one is called Let It Be, a West End jukebox musical. Why are you laughing? Oh, he's being awful to me.
That's not true.
Anyways, so there's been some controversy going on with that, with the creators of Rain saying that Let It Be, a West End musical, has stolen, basically their show.
It's crazy.
And so they, have taken them to court over it. And they're not necessarily asking them to shut down the show. What they actually want is just half of the revenue of profit from the show.
It'll be interesting to see how this worked out. We were talking about this off camera before.
Yeah.
I mean, and as we say, the Beatles were only around for a small period of time. Every one of their songs is classed as a hit. And it goes on to say that the Rain score has 31 of the Beatles' greatest hits, such as Yesterday, Hey Jude, and 28 of these appear in Let It Be. I mean, no joke.
And then they were saying that they copied almost directly different sets and costumes. And it's like, okay, well, you're basing these characters like they are the Beatles, so you're clearly using the same historical research and stuff to create your show. Of course, things are going to line up. I don't think someone went in there with a camcorder, taped the Rain show and then said, okay, done, I'm going to make this other musical for West End.
No, that's exactly right. And I think, as we touched on, but because the producers of both these productions had worked together before, they kind of think that maybe they stole these different ideas. But I mean, it's a tricky one because if you're going to essentially mimic someone, then you want to do it to the best of your ability. And I mean,
well, and Rain is also looking to open up on West End. So it's like, okay, let's just share.
There's enough to go around. Let it be.
Let it be. Exactly.
Perfect.
Well, Kane, how can we be found?
We can be found all over the internet, especially on Facebook, which is probably where you're watching us right now. And we thank you so much for doing it. But it also means that through Facebook, you can communicate with us by sending us a message, jumping on the Music Business Today page, liking it, and sharing some information, whatever you like. Also, we have an awesome Talkapolis app that you can get on your smartphones.
Yes.
So we're kind of all over the place, which we're happy about.
It's easy to find us.
It is. Well, that's all we've got time for, guys. So thank you so much for coming past, and we will see you next time.
Talkapolis, the social media TV network for your city.